My name is Kyoko Noguchi from Tokyo, Japan. My main fields of interest were personality, stress coping, and counseling. In 1987, health psychology was introduced to Japan from North America and Europe. Since then, health psychology has been my main area of concern because I think that health psychology includes every of them in its mission and method. But I have been learning, researching, and teaching. Dr. Machiko Fukuhara and Dr. Naoki Asazuma, I am very much honored and deeply grateful that you could give me the chance to present my work at this special conference. Today, I'm happy to talk on health psychology, which I'm always thinking about. I would like to talk today with the title of Health Psychology in Japan, from children to the elderly and astronauts embody the spirit of health psychology with physical, mental, and social harmony, with my handmade simple slides. Let me begin with a brief overview of health psychology in Japan. First, I will focus on the scopes and activities. Next, I will introduce theories well used in Japan. Then I will mention what I am aware of recently as a member of selection committee of Japanese astronauts. What kind of qualities and abilities astronauts are required from the viewpoint of health psychology. And in the last few minutes, I would like to touch my hope I long cherished. Where is health created? Health is created by people within their everyday life settings. Now, definition of health by WHO is well known, and it is time to make sure we put the theory into practice. To strengthen knowledge, skills, and motivation, and to change emotion, beliefs, and behavior toward health. Education, counseling, and training are necessary through concrete and effective action. Health psychology is closely connected with many aspects of our lives, such as assisting children and adolescents in their development, supporting elderly people who go through physical and cognitive changes. Also, psychological perspectives contribute to addressing many social issues, including the control of crime and mental health support for victims of crime and natural disasters. So, cooperation with other fields are necessary. Those are Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, Ministry of Education, National Police Agency, Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications. Health psychology encompasses these areas of research and practice as a whole. Just like the phrase of health promotion and disease prevention, health psychology covers the areas from many physical and mental problems to the way of improving our life. And I think it is connecting to and with our happiness directly. This slide shows a full of photos by my and our colleagues. They are very great, important, kind, and precious colleagues who educated and empowered us and contributed to the development of Japanese health psychology. They are the first generation and the second generation of health psychologists over the world. Health psychology was introduced through WHO by Dr. Wayne Holtzman and other health psychologists, that the 8th division in APA and European Health Psychology Society. They were very active and growing. As the founder and the president of Japanese Association of Health Psychology, late Dr. Hiroshimoto Aki considered the possibility to make a proposal from another point of view to Western point of view on health. And he established an academic network in Asia based on the wisdom of the Orient. The possibility seems to be very attractive. Since then, every 3 or 4 years, Congress has been held in Japan and Asian countries, reflecting the expectations for health psychology. Please see, at the international conference, they are smiling, laughing, friendly, eating, drinking a little. The wonderful time led to good discussion, collaborative work, and joint research. Here, several key concepts were used in Japan are the constructs of subjective well-being and happiness. How to change lifestyle of clients suffering from stressful events or related disease is often urged to change their behaviors, and it is a very important and also difficult issue. I try to combine rational emotive behavior therapy and decision therapy into transactional analysis and add autogenic training for behavior modification in lifestyle. In the process of counseling, we often use them because clients need to learn how to achieve personal growth, improve interpersonal relationship, resolve problems, make decisions, and change unhealthy behaviors from the perspective of health psychology. As one of the key concepts of health psychology, I think first come is stress coping. These are Lazarus' the way of coping, 8 ways of coping. It is important to recognize that good functioning in one sphere may be directly related to poor functioning in another, and that good functioning in one area does not necessarily mean that person is functioning well in all areas. As Lazarus said, I have learned that overall, the relationships among moral, social functioning, and somatic health are complex. I remember he always said, be flexible and choose an appropriate coping style. To live, develop, and deal with difficulty among the ways of coping, we focused on proactive coping, who scoring high on proactive coping show these tendencies. For example, good one, they think that the life course is determined by the individual, not by external factors, and take responsibility for making things happen. Self-efficacy proposed by Bandura is another essential concept. Self-efficacy is an individual's subjective perception of his or her ability to perform or ability to attain desired result. Self-efficacy is constructed from 4 principal sources of information that serve as indicators of capacity. I am deeply impressed by Bandura's intention to explore the exercise of human agency through people's beliefs in their capabilities to produce desired efforts by their actions. Self-efficacy is the exercise of control, he said. People have a hand in selecting and shaping their environmental context. People are producers and as well as products of social environments. I think self-efficacy is one of the best concepts in health psychology. Self-esteem is individual feelings of self-worth. A person with high self-esteem, a person with low self-esteem, each has these tendencies. Some degree of self-esteem is needed for healthy psychological functioning. People need to feel that they are valuable within the context of everyday life and society. This is a process and the goal of health counseling. Why counseling? Counseling skills are effective to change the targeted person toward healthy behavior. Please see the slide of counseling process, including key concepts of health psychology, from anxiety, tension, cognitive restructuring, self-acceptance up, self-esteem up, self-efficacy up, and then to self-actualization. Our feeling and thoughts can be considered to influence behavior, which in turn can impact on our health. I would like to introduce the case which I involved when I was working at a certain nursing home. Mrs. M, at 82 years old, has begun to feel exhausted in a nursing home. I learned that although Mrs. M wanted to feel better, she had no intention to change her lifestyle. One day, I had noticed that Mrs. M was looking at the pages of magazine, and she said to me, "I used to wear a green dress like this when I was young. This dress reminds me of the days I was young." Mrs. M seems to remember her young days. I started a program, Growing Younger, with workshop of Color My Dress and Let's Make Up. In order to improve the well-being of the elderly in nursing home, once a week they received help in doing makeup by a specialist in makeup and advised in choosing dresses suited to their own taste in color. The elderly then were going to enjoy walking around the neighborhood, even shopping, with members of support groups in the community and university students volunteers. "Oh, my friend looks lovely. It is great that she can express herself in her dress. I can do it too." Participating in activities, walking and communicating with each other, the elderly found and reported the vivid feelings. This is a case fashion triggered to improve their psychological, physiological, and social well-being. This is an outline of anime musical DVD for children I made recently for health education. Will and Minnie were best friends. They always played together in the garden. "We are best friends." "Yes, best friends." One day, in the morning, we went off to find Minnie. "Minnie, where are you?" But Minnie was nowhere to be found. What has happened to me? I have lost my best friend. Will no longer play in the flower garden and dig a hole, curl up like a ball in a hole. Other friends worried about and tried to pray and cheer him up, but Will refused. One sunny day, we heard a familiar voice calling, Will, I'm here. Will looked at her with beautiful wings. Are you really Minnie? Minnie explained what happened. Minnie turned to a butterfly. Minnie flew off and Will was terribly depressed. At night, a lightning bug listened Will's sad story and asked him, What do you think is the best thing to do? A few weeks passed. We felt energetic again. How? Each child seriously thinks of Will's future as if it were own affair. As a member of the selection committee of Japanese astronauts, I have been feeling that inability, qualification, and competency on the extension of the straight line of where the ordinary person stays lies an astronaut. An astronaut is a person trained, equipped, and deployed by a human space flight program. What kind of qualities and abilities astronauts are required from the viewpoints of health psychology? This list is the items of human behavior and performance defined by NASA. Element is responsible for characterizing human factors and behavioral performance. Risks associated with living and working in space and safely returning to Earth. Please look at the highlighted items with yellow of the slide and following. Next slide. Last one. As above, requirement of astronaut by NASA and theories in health psychology, we can see the commonality in qualities. Theories such as stress coping, self-esteem, self-efficacy, rational belief, positive psychology, autogenic training are asked to consider the human behavior and performance in space. From ordinary people to astronauts, they embody the spirit of health psychology. I would say it wellness with physical, mental, social harmony. Happiness is defined variously from the viewpoint of health psychology. I prefer that happiness is not a state of mind, but a way of being. Happiness is ongoing attitude toward life, not a momentary experience. To be happy is to live by hope and with positive emotion in spite of situations that brings difficulties and hardship to cope with. So this is my idea that the components which affect happiness are self-efficacy, subjective well-being, personality strength, behavior change, positive emotion, thought, behavior, and way of stress coping. These elements go round, around, and upward. I believe that spirit of health psychology will bring us hope to work together for our future, bridging the gaps, including cultural differences, even in so rapidly changing societies. This is my image of health psychology orchestra. Orchestra sings a piece with different various musical instruments together. by breathing together with harmony and praise music as one. Harmony is in a state of peaceful existence and agreement, the way in which different notes that are played together combine to make pleasing sound. Like this, in the same structure, health psychology plays the theme of health with interdisciplinary science field together. Sometimes the difficulty of relations and the conflict occurs with neighboring countries is known. Such a time to be alive in peace, I think of the preference of harmony, like if preserve the unities, keep the proportion of things, and give place to others without losing one's own position. The life could be flexible, non-extreme, productive, and interpersonal relation helpful to strive on goals. I believe the concepts of health psychology and our preference of harmony with oneself, with others, and with nature will contribute to world peace. I enjoy studying health psychology. I think I'm very lucky that I have been with health psychology for about 35 years, from the time it appears on the scene to now such prosperous days. I hope health opportunity for people everywhere help organize peace everywhere. Thank you very much for your attention. Kyoko Noguchi.